Hello again. I want to talk today about senators. The position of senator was created in the original Constitution as another way to prevent a tyranny of the majority, just as the Electoral College was. The original purpose of 2 senators from each state was so that every state had equal representation despite its population. Larger states, of course, have more representatives in the House because the number of representatives there is completely dependent on population. The more people in a state, the more representatives or votes they have in the House. Now, under Article 1, Section 3, Clauses 1 and 2 of the Constitution, senators were elected by state legislatures. Their main purpose was to protect the interests of their particular state and its inhabitants. But in 1912, under that regressive progressive Woodrow Wilson, the 17th Amendment to the United States Constitution was passed. This amendment established the popular election of United States senators by the people of their states. It also changed the procedures for filling vacancies in the Senate, allowing state legislatures to permit their governors to make temporary appointments until a special election could be held. Because of this, senators are no longer working primarily for the good of their state. Rather, they work now for the highest contributors to their campaigns. This is why someone like Chuck Schumer is constantly flying around the country appearing at fundraisers, and why he has amassed a war chest of hundreds of millions of dollars, mostly from out-of-state interests. And as much as I dislike Schumer, he's not the only senator of either political party who benefits from this legal buying of their votes. Lobbyists spend millions each year buying the votes of senators across the country, who then often end up voting for bills that may very well have an adverse effect on their home state. In other words, opening the election of senators to the public has effectively created senatorial corruption on a nationwide scale. Actually, check that. Senators also receive gifts from foreign interests and thus are not always voting with the interests of the United States in mind. So the corruption of popularly elected Senate, it extends worldwide. There's a movement afoot to call for another constitutional convention these days. The main purpose of those who were calling for it is to create an amendment that will impose term limits, something that is much needed, something Congress could have made into law long ago, but which it refuses to do because it reduces their power. I think there is also a move to change the range, shall we say, of Supreme Court justices. Back in 1888, the average lifespan was maybe half or more of what it is today. The founders never foresaw justices sitting on the High Court for 3 or 4 decades. I hope the convention will also strengthen the First and Second Amendments, perhaps even bolster the entire Bill of Rights. Now, for those of you who have not been taught anything about the Constitution by their liberal leftist teachers, except that it's outdated, the Bill of Rights refers to the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, without which many of the original 13 states would not have voted to ratify. I think the convention, should also consider, if they are not already, repealing the 17th Amendment, and so returning the appointment of senators to state legislatures, and, hopefully, ensuring that senators will once again be protectors of their individual states and the citizens therein, and not the bought and paid for whores of anyone with a checkbook.